All right, everyone, happy springtime. Here we are at We Spark for this class today is a continuation of our series in the self-healing techniques that I call Vitalize, Harmonize. I am Christo Pellani and been with We Spark now for quite a while. Happy to be back to share my techniques with you. My background is in energy healing and rhythm healing and sound healing, therapeutic movement, and I'm a teacher and facilitator at the Tamado Academy of Color, Sound, and Movement. We've been working for years to teach people how to create strategies for self-healing. And so that's my main emphasis here, is to share techniques and resources with you that will assist you in creating a self-healing plan so that you can practice however you do in your home, however is convenient for you, techniques that will help you build resiliency in your immune system, create flexibility and strength in your body, and calm and focus your mind and your emotions. So a large part of our work is in emotional processing and emotional healing. And so today's class in our continuing series is on the emotional freedom technique, or EFT tapping. So I mentioned earlier that EFT is now a worldwide kind of a phenomenon, in a sense that so many people are using it in various therapeutic milieus. We find that it's very kind of magical what's going on with this. And I'll do a little intro with it, and I'll give you a little bit of background on where this technique came from. There's some handouts that I'm going to send to Michelle that you will be able to reference in terms of the information. Don't worry about taking notes or any of that today. Just stay present. You know, there is a bit of a lecture to this. There's a technique that you have to learn and a little bit of background. I'll try to make it as truncated and focused as possible. Of course, if you'd like to go deeper, you can always contact me and we'll go deeper into the sort of psycho-emotional framework of where this work came from. Okay, so we're going to be sharing screen and showing some handouts, and we'll learn some mental body techniques about what EFT is. Then we're going to practice the actual technique. And because there are so many different ways that you can do EFT, it's actually thought to be good for everything that might be stressful or challenging in the emotional realm. But one of the things that I like to focus on in my work is helping people manage stress and trauma, and managing the nervous system in a way where we can respond to stress rather than to react to it. We're kind of conditioned in our culture to be reactive when things come up. And I'm sure you've seen lately in the way the world is spinning that there's a lot of reactivity going on right now in the world. The immediate thing is, oh my God, you know, we react and we start to feel the reaction that happens in our body causes all types of chemical releases in the brain and affects not only our emotions, but our physical well-being, our breathing and digestion, on and on. So these techniques today will be assisting you in developing strategies for self-healing. Now, if you've been following along with the series, every month we do something a little bit more, complementary to the previous month. And this particular class will take it, again, into a complementary area. Last month we worked with sounds for releasing emotions that are sometimes trapped in the organs, and techniques for using your voice and sound healing and that type of thing. This is a whole other type of thing. It does involve the use of energy healing, which we talked about earlier in our series. And so it actually is very complementary to everything that we've been doing. I like to use these cutting edge techniques in conjunction with ancient sound healing techniques and things that are based in the 5-element theory of Chinese medicine with acupuncture and meridians. And so this is also a very complementary technique in using the 5 elements as a framework for our philosophy and our trainings. Okay, so I think you'll find this very useful, and I hope it really serves you well. So because I mentioned this is such a vast kind of a well to drink from, we're going to really stay focused on managing stress. Something stressful that may be happening in your life right now. And we'll frame that and give it a little bit of context here shortly, where you can use the technique specifically for something that's happening in your life. And then with that experience, you can then see different ways that you can use the technique for other things that are happening in your life that you can also find that are very effective using this technique. Okay, so the other things we're going to do in the class, the Vitalize part of our Vitalize Harmonize, is to use some Qi Gong warm-up techniques and to just get the body sort of supple and relaxed. The more that we have physical relaxation, the much better our meditation and breathing techniques help us to integrate what I like to call energy healing techniques as well. So the more subtle things are more integrated, the more that we do the physical sort of stretching and opening up the channels. Okay, so we'll do some of that. Then we'll do a little lecture business. We'll practice the EFT, and then at the end, I'll do a sound harmonization, a little shorter one today to kind of help you integrate everything into the energy field using the instruments in my studio. And I hope that that is something you really will enjoy as well. Okay? So first, let's go ahead and just do a little bit of warm-up, Qigong warm-up. Now, before we start with this, I'd like to say to you that if it's challenging for you to stand, please do take care of yourself. You can do a lot of what we're doing here sitting down. If your hips hurt or your knees or legs are hurting for any reason, it's challenging, just listen to your body, take care of yourself. We're going to do a lot of listening to our body today and finding out what messages we're getting from our body in terms of how we feel. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with a drink of water. You want to have some water available. A comfortable place where you can move your arms, a place to sit comfortably, and then a place to lie down, so at the end, whenever you're lying down, you can really relax fully and totally. So first thing is to put your feet together and place your hands over your lower dantian. Now, if you're identifying as female, it's left hand over the right, right below the navel. This lower dantian, also called the hara, or the second chakra, or we also call it the Sea of Qi, is the most concentrated, focused area of energy and emotion in the body. It's our seat of emotion, of sexuality, of connecting to other people, of passion and expression, emotional focus. So this is how we can kind of tune in to how we feel today. So just place your hands there and just rock your feet back and forth like this. Feel your toes and your heels grounding you to the earth. This is called willow in the wind. I like to do this to kind of feel all the points of the feet connecting you to the earth. And now close your eyes for a moment and just take a breath. Push the belly out as you breathe in and pull your belly back to your spine on the exhale. This wonderful breathing technique is what we use a lot in the work that I do in Qigong and other types of meditation. Very, very powerful technique to bring you into the present moment. It starts to activate the very important vagus nerve at the base of the skull on top of the spine, which is the nerve that we want to tonify and activate for responsiveness in the nervous system. And so just take a moment here to kind of read how you feel, what's happening in your events, circumstances, and relationships. The world is very complicated right now. Wherever we can find some peace and solace and have an oasis in the desert is very important in our lives. Find a place of quiet and peace. But what's happening? What's going on around you in your life? Just check in. If something's happening that feels challenging, just know that that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Emotions are like clouds in the sky. They come and they go. We do have techniques to help dissolve and digest and process emotions if they are challenging. So we want to just let the emotions be there without judgment, just observing I just know that they're there to serve us in some way, teach us something about ourselves, to expand our consciousness, and help us to heal. So if there's something challenging, just let it be present. Just take a breath into it. And then take a moment now to see yourself at end of session, how you would like to feel, your state of consciousness. What is your desired state of consciousness? However that feels for you. See yourself in your mind's eye, using your visualization skills that we've been practicing. How would you like to see yourself? How would you like to feel? And your affirmation for session today is, I love, accept, and appreciate all aspects of myself unconditionally. Love, accept, and appreciate all aspects of myself unconditionally. All right, great. I'm going to put somebody else in the session here. Now we're going to begin, first of all, by rubbing the fingernails together. I like to do this. This is a great way to build some circulation in the extremities, get some energy moving to the fingertips. We don't usually think about that, but it's a great way to kind of get energy moving, get circulation going. And now tap the hands together, rub them together, and get some heat going and warm up the palms, the Qi chakras in the palms. Get some energy, circulation going here. Now your mentastics, which is shaking the hands and fingers. Mentastics is a process of shaking progressive muscle groups. We start with the fingers, hands, and now up to the elbows, shake up to the shoulders. I'm really a big advocate of shaking. Shaking is really great for getting circulation going. Shake through your shoulders, get your shoulders, belly, and chest, and just do the best you can. If you're sitting, just kind of shake it up. And now hop if you can. Notice your breathing. Shake your hands up in the air like you're jumping on a trampoline. And by the way, trampolines are awesome if you got one. Now place your hands close to the dantian and see if you can feel some tingling and a little bit of a force field of energy here. This is the energy that we're talking about in our field that we can process and clear. Well, here is the ability to kind of notice this energy. Feel it like a slinky, and then bring it back over your dantian again. And now we're going to lean forward and begin tapping here. We're going to tap the kidneys. Tapping. Kidneys are really important for energy management. The adrenal glands are there. It's a water element, so it has a lot to do with emotions and flow, ease and grace and emotions. Now we're tapping the Sea of Qi here, the Qua area between your legs and your torso where that meets. This is, again, focused area of concentration of emotional Qi. Now come up and tap your thymus, right above your sternum. Your thymus gland regulates your immune system. This helps to build some resiliency in the immune system. Very simple. Tapping is going to be one of the areas of focus today. We're going to be tapping some energy points in the EFT technique process. But tapping is also great. I use tapping a lot in all kinds of different areas of the body. Now exhale, palms facing up to the sky. Bend your knees slightly, stand as wide as your shoulders. Close your eyes and breathe in as if you're breathing in through your hands from the sky. This is like a white, pure energy from the sky. Exhale through your feet into the earth. And we're making the connection between sky and earth. You can also look at it as masculine and feminine, or sending and receiving, or yang and yin. Father sky, grandfather sky, grandmother earth. You breathe in through the hands, bring energy in. Exhale, send energy out into the earth. And now we're going to open our eyes and begin to do arm swings. So arm swings help us synchronize the brain. Also creates a really nice rhythm in the body. A tapping again, reach around and see if you can tap the kidneys as you come around your side. If you can't, that's okay. You can just tap your side. The tapping is the thing we're going for here. Try to get some energy moving. When we tap, we're creating energy circuits. Now we're going to come up and tap the chest and get the lungs activated here. And this is metal element. Metal is an element that's a little mysterious, but we look at it as a discernment and clarity element. Gives us the opportunity to breathe in and out. In, good energy, out, stagnant energy. Activating the lungs, which is one of the first things that we do in Qi Gong. We like to get the lungs really open up and get lots of good qi and flow of energy, life force energy into the lungs. Nice deep breaths here. Now we're going to come up and tap the shoulder, and kind of like a little chop between the neck and the shoulder here. And this energy area helps activate that vagus nerve. We talked about the vagus nerve earlier. At the seat of the skull and top of the spine. This nerve is the central nerve that regulates your digestion and touches all the organs and is always relaying information of emotional qi to the brain. So any head and shoulder exercises like this really help this vagus nerve to be tonified. Now we're going to get down a little faster and just kind of get the energy going here. Just a little dance. Just be loose in your shoulders and arms. Just get it going. Shake it a little bit here. And now have your sip of water. Have a little bit of water. Okay, now a couple of other warm-ups. We're going to lift up from the dantian here. Feel the energy right below the navel. We're going to lift up and breathe in and create a big circle down to the thighs. Keep your back straight, breathe up. Exhale down to the knees. Keep the back straight, breathe up from the knees. And exhale down to the shins. Breathe up from the shins. And now down to the earth. All the way to the earth. Gather up earth energy. Sprinkle all around you. Shake it out. Next, I like to do scissors arms. A great way to wake up in the morning. This also gets a lot of energy going in the heart and lungs. Gets the chest opened up. And the shoulders. Gives a little bit of stretching and flexibility to your biceps and your elbows. So this is a really nice, easy way to avoid that cup of coffee first thing in the morning. Just get the energy moving, pumping. It's a great wake up and a way to kind of just re-energize yourself. If you are feeling a little sluggish in the afternoon or after dinner, you can do this just a few minutes. Doesn't take long. And we can keep going, but just shake it out here briefly. Now your shoulders, we're going to lift both shoulders up and back, up and back, up and back. Now come up on your toes when you're doing this. Lift up, and now shoulders up to your ears. Tense the muscles, and let go. Once again, shoulders up, and let go. All right, now we're going to lift our head up and down, up and down, up and down. Now place your right hand over your left ear, behind your ear. There's a soft spot. We're going to pull to the right. Look in the upper left corner with your eyes. This is a great resetting of the nervous system. Helps the vagus nerve reset quickly. Stretching one way, looking the other. Not too much of a stretch, just enough to give yourself a good stretch here on your neck. And now let go. And move your head from side to side. Now your right hand over your left hand over your right ear, behind your right ear. Feel that little soft spot. We're going to pull to the left. Look in the upper right corner with your eyes. Yeah. Same thing. A good little stretch here. help to reset that nervous system. Both sides of the brain getting activated here. Okay, gently release and look from side to side. And now slow clockwise head circles. Good. And now go back the other way. There used to be a little crack in my neck when I did this, and after doing these for as long as I have, it's not there anymore. It's kind of cool. In the cervical spine. Okay, now we're going to massage the scalp. Just really activate the energy centers in the scalp. I'm going to be working with this area of the head later in our EFT tapping. And now just lightly tapping up around the skull. Wake up the brain, get some energy going here. Now pull your elbows, your eyebrows out to the side, like this, and massage your forehead. And now come down and massage the eye sockets, cheekbones, and your jaw. Now we're going to review some of these points in the EFT tapping. These are also really good for releasing stress. We hold a lot of tension in the jaw. Lift up on the ears, breathe in. And now pull your ears down and do dragon breath clearing here. Here we go. It doesn't look pretty, but it's good. It's good for you. Okay, reach around the back, and now we're going to massage that bindu point. The bottom of your skull, top of your spine, we call this medulla oblongata, or the bindu, or the seat of the vagus nerve. Just give it a good circular massage there. Open that point up a little bit. Send some love to the vagus nerve. And now massage along the edges of your skull. And now lift your head and massage your thyroid gently. Now fire finger in the center of your neck and massage the thymus. Switch. And now dantian, and this point under the nose, which we're going to use in our tapping today. Balance point 2. Crossover underneath the clavicles, another similar point we're going to refer to later in the EFT. Massaging the stomach meridians here, open up the stomach for clarity and digestion. And this is earth element energy here. Slow, deliberate energy in the stomach, grounding. Okay, now up and down the center line of the chakras. And now tapping again in the vowel sounds here, thymus gland. Ah. Oh, eh, ah, eh, oh. Remember, those vowels are connected to the organs. We did that last month in our healing. And again, tapping down the arms, outside, down the backs of the legs, and up the front. Shoo off your kidneys. Lift it up and throw it down. Lift it up. Lift it up, breathe in, throw it down. Shake it out. All right, get some water. Have a sip of water here. Now, a couple of circular exercises. I love circles. I teach a class just in circles. Circulation in circles. We're going to put the heels together, lift up. Breathe in, come down, and touch your toes. Once again, lift up, breathe in, come down and touch your toes. Lift up and breathe in, down, touch your toes, let the shoulders and arms hang loose. And slowly come up, hands behind your back, and hip circles, clockwise. We really benefit by doing circular exercises for the hips, especially as we get older. Want to keep those hips strong, prevent us from falling. Also for balance, hips from side to side here. Upper body circles, lean forward. Big clockwise circles with your body. Going back the other way. And again, hips from side to side. And now just little circles with the hips here. Belly dance circles here. Go back the other way. And shake it out. And now a little twisting. Fingers forward. We're going to twist the entire body. Just gently twisting. Give your spine a good twist. Also, just notice your balance when you do this. If your body feels balanced and grounded. Another good way to wake up in the morning. Interesting way to kind of activate both sides of the brain also. And keep breathing. Just notice your breathing. All right, good. Shake it out. Now your left hand below your right below the dantian, feet together. We're going to do the centering exercise. Center. Exhale down. Exchange the chi into your hands. Exhale down. Switch. Breathe in up. Flip. And two more. You can do all of these with more repetitions if you like. And close off into your dantian. Breathe in and exhale out. And shake it out. Get another sip of water. Okay, now two exercises. Brocades, one for the lungs, one for the heart. Lung mudra looks like this. We're standing as wide as our shoulders. Fingers pointing down, backs of the hands facing. We're going to lift, take your breath. Point the fingers to the sky, palms facing in. Visualize white, metal element, pure chi coming into the lungs. Exhale this sound. Once again, lift, take your breath. Push the fingers up. Visualize white coming through these meridians into the lungs. Exhale. One more to energize the lungs. Lift up. And over the dantian. Breathing out. This is the mudra for the heart. Okay, your elbows at your sides. Stand as wide as your shoulders, palms facing up. Bend your knees slightly. We're going to come around and sweep the kidneys, almost touch the backs of the hands. Breathe in. Point the palms outward. Visualize red fire element chi coming into the heart, energizing the heart. Life force and chi, clear fire energy. Exhale. Once again, breathe in here. Visualize red fire element chi into the heart. Exhale. And one more. There we go. Lift up. And exhale. Now hands over your dantian. Close your eyes. Breathe in. Push the belly out. Exhale. Pull it back. Now take a moment to see how you feel. If anything has shifted, visualize yourself at the end of session in your desired state of consciousness. How would you like to feel? See yourself there in your mind's eye, in your visualization. And now your hands to your heart and your affirmation. I treat myself and others with love, kindness, respect, and compassion. I treat myself and others with love, kindness, respect, compassion. Namaste, dear friends. Okay, very good, everyone. Have a seat and some water. All right, we're going to move into some of the philosophy and techniques now for the emotional freedom technique. Before we do that, I just want to remind you, one of the basic premises of this work, of EFT work, as well as the Vitalize, Harmonize process, is to be aware of your self-talk, your self-reflections, what's happening with you, and to have the capacity to have compassion for yourself. We're all suffering somehow, somewhere. We're all the same. We all have the same emotional stuff happening, maybe slightly different times in different ways, but we all are the same way. We all have the same makeup as human beings. And so this self-compassion is really a framework for allowing yourself to accept everything that's happening and to be able to transform the challenging emotions and traumas that happen to us. Rather than to take them on and own them, we just notice them, and we're able to learn from the energy that they bring us, and we're able to transform that energy into healing using very powerful techniques. So it gives us the ability to really take ownership of our health and our wellness, and to be much more aware of how emotions actually frame our life and what we can do to respond to them rather than to react to them. Okay, so, all right. So we're going to share the screen here. I have a couple things I want to share with you that are handouts, as I mentioned, that Michelle will be giving you. And so one of the first things I'm going to do is bring this in. This is just a philosophy of tuning into the issues and the problems, so to speak, that we have, that we're going to be working with today in emotional freedom techniques. So just give me a moment to give you a little bit of background. The EFT, or emotional freedom technique, is really kind of an energetic acupressure or stress relief technique on different points of the body. It was developed by a fellow called Gary Craig, who researched and simplified the work of Dr. Roger Callahan. And in this way, what it does is it centers around the profound effects of the body's subtle energy, while using the theory that the cause of all negative or challenging emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. So EFT is an emotional form of acupressure or acupuncture that, uses tapping on points instead of needles. Now in Tamado, we use tuning forks, a sound process on acupuncture points to either tonify an organ, to energize it, or to sedate it if it's too overamped with energy. So instead of using needles or tuning forks, we're going to tap with fingertips to stimulate these meridians and these energy points while being tuned in to the so-called challenge or problem. So it's kind of the missing piece in the mental, emotional, and in the physical, emotional, mental sort of diaspora of healing. These subtle energies circulating through the body have largely been ignored in the West. And as a result, our use of them for emotional and spiritual healing really hasn't been something that people have been aware of. So EFT gives us an opportunity to explore this way of a type of emotional work using energy healing based on 5-element theory of acupuncture meridians. So it's a very cool idea. Kind of mysterious. A lot of people are like, well, does this really work? And what I've noticed about all of these techniques is that, yes, it does work with practice. There's no magic, formula that will immediately take something away. Once we know the technique and we have the theory, then it's just practice and being able to be really self-compassionate and when you are practicing, and allow this thing to do what it does. Allow it to offer its energy for healing. So there's sort of two different ways that you can look at EFT. There's a couple different basic components, and then there are many little subtle layers in those components. So the one is the actual physical tapping, knowing what the points are, tapping there, because they are researched as acupuncture points and energy points that help us release emotional stress. The other part is tuning in and using affirmative statements. Now, there's a class that we're going to learn later called Mindfulness Techniques to Overcome Anxiety. And in this class, we will be journaling affirmative statements that you create, tuning into your higher self. These are self-compassion-based value statements that have your sort of higher self creating the energy within you, your own inner knowing of what is the way that your body and your emotions will heal. So somebody can tell you an affirmation, but being able to create your own based on this self-compassionate centering based on your values, what you value about yourself, and maybe what others have told you. I notice this about you. I see this in you. And I'm sure we've all had people tell us from time to time qualities that they recognize. Sometimes we don't even recognize them within ourselves. So this gives you the ability to also receive, but receiving from yourself. So first, we're going to look at ways that we can approach this. So we can say, first, the idea is to tune into the problem or challenge. So now that you understand actually how to, we're going to talk about the mechanical tapping here in a minute, but the traditional EFT phrases that uses the following setup. So there's kind of a setup. So even though I have this, whatever that challenge is, tendency to, want to drink alcohol, or tendency to want to react and scream at somebody when I'm angry, tendency to beat myself up when I feel like I've made a mistake, whatever it is, I deeply and completely accept myself. Again, self-compassionate statement. You can also substitute this as a second part of the phrase. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So you remember the affirmation that I did at the beginning. I accept, love, accept, and appreciate all aspects of myself. That's, for example, you can come up with an affirmation within yourself that feels appropriate to you. The blank above in this sentence is filled with a brief description of the addiction, food craving, negative emotion, other problem or challenge, whatever it is. And examples could be, even though I have this fear of public speaking, I deeply and completely accept myself. Today, I'd like to focus on something that is stressful for you, what you may find stressful. Maybe it has to do with your recovery, or your appointment that you have with your doctor, or your medication regimen, or whatever it might be, something stressful in your events, circumstances, and relationships. So keep that framework in mind. So we're going to tune into that. So now what we're going to do is, I'm basically going to show you again, like this idea of how to approach this work. So there's preparation to identify the specific challenge and observe how it feels to you, how it feels, not how it, thinking about it, how it feels. And you can, you can rate the intensity of it from 1 to 10. So if it's a stressful thing, you go, okay, well, if this thing's causing me stress, like where is it on a scale from 1 to 10? And you tune in, you listen, we'll practice this. And then you give it a rating. Is it 7? Maybe it's an 8. Or maybe it's a 10. It's like really intense. So the setup is, while continuously tapping, you say this affirmation statement that we just created. So the tapping occurs simultaneously to repeating the affirmative self-compassionate statement. Okay, so that's the idea, to combine the two techniques together, the affirmation and the tapping. Now, the sequence is very interesting. There's a very specific sequence of points that we're going to talk about. So the issue of whatever it is that we're focusing on, we're going to go through this sequence of points. And tapping these points are going to be in a very specific sequence while you're repeating this. So the sequence basically is, we'll review these. I'll put myself on the screen here in a little bit so you can actually see them a little closer. Thing called a karate chop, which is just here at the wrist. It's the first place. And then at the eyebrow, right where the eyebrow starts here, near the third eye, that's the second point. And then the third point is here where the eye crease is at the side of your eye, over here next to your temple. And then underneath the eye here, right underneath the eye. And then we move to below the nose. And then the collarbone here. Remember, we were doing this massage of these points. It's very similar right there where the collarbone is, the tapping. and then lift your arm and tap in the soft spot here, just below your armpit. Tapping there, and then the top of the head. So that very specific sequence is kind of what we will do for every situation that you find yourself in that you're addressing in the tapping. Well, 7 to 10 taps, a little, really focused energy on it, breathing, observing, and reassessing what's happening here. After you're tapping, you close your eyes, take a breath, reflect back and see what's happening with the way that you feel, if anything has shifted. There are subsequent rounds that you can do to repeat that, and then the aspects that you will notice in terms of what happened with the actual technique itself. So again, I'll send these out as handouts to you so you can see them. Here's another kind of a little cartoonish, but a wonderful depiction of the points, where we have the side of the palm, the chop here, right? And then here, next to the third eye and the eyebrow, the side of the eye, below the nose, here at the chin, the collarbone, and then the top of the head. So this is a very cool little thing to have with you so you understand the sequence. And again, here's some other depictions of, the points and the way that they are progressing. Okay? And this is a little sort of a thumbnail that you can print. I have one of these on a small laminated form, which identifies the problem or concern, how intense is it, the level of 1 to 10, and then the setup while you're tapping on the karate chop point, which is here as you start. Even though I have this whatever challenge, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then you start with the actual, that's 3 times you repeat that, and then you start with the sequence. Okay, so I think this is a good way to kind of like set this thing up so you can see what it looks like on paper. There's also a process for clearing psychological reversals. And again, this is a 3-point thing to go a little bit deeper into some ideas of reversing things. Tapping lightly with fingertips at the end of the eyebrows, over the temples, and around the ears as you say the following sentence. It is safe for me to get over this problem. And smooth over the tapping area with your fingers from eyebrows to behind the ears. And then also tapping over the heart chakra, which we did a little bit of tapping over the thymus. There's all kinds of different areas. Here, the heart chakra, rubbing in a clockwise circle as you repeat the following sentence. I'm okay no matter what happens. Everything is okay no matter what happens. My life is in divine order. The third thing, fingers above the eyebrows on the forehead, pressing gently and repeating the following sentence. I really want to let go of this issue, and I'm ready to let it go now. Breathe in deeply, release any resistance you may have. So this is a way to take it a little further. Okay? So these things will be sent to you as handouts that you can use in your process. And keep in mind that I will be available if you have any questions, or if you'd like to go into, having a session to work with deeper tapping. Sometimes what I do is I'll have a session and then I'll follow it up real quickly with a sound, harmonization, which really helps to give the energy field the opportunity to integrate everything that you just, affirm in your tapping. Okay? So let's look at these points again in the sequence. This is the karate chop point that they're talking about. What I like to do is use my dominant hand, right hand. And so if it's an issue of stress, whatever that issue is, right? There's your karate chop point. Then your eyebrow point is here, right where the eyebrow starts. Then on the side of the eye, right here at the crease. and underneath the eye, below the nose. And then your chin, if you want, you can do this one. Sometimes people don't do the chin. They go right to the collarbone, right underneath the collarbone. Then under the armpit here. Okay. And the top of the head, which kind of is the convergence point of all the meridians, crown chakra. But people will say, well, should I tap this way or tap that way? Whatever feels easier for you. Some people, it's a little softer to tap like this than the fingertips. You have to kind of just check and see what feels right for you. Okay, so those are the points. We're going to review them in this process that I'm going to do with you here. And so what I'm going to do shortly here is basically ask you to take a moment to reflect for a second, and you just close your eyes and take a deep breath. And just check in again. We've been doing a little bit of checking in on your emotional state today. What may be happening in your events, circumstances, and relationships. Allow something to come in from your higher self. What is an area of challenge or stress that you may be feeling right now? Just let something come in, whatever it is. It could be a relationship, it could be an event, it could be a circumstance, whatever that might feel like for you. And just take a moment to allow that to be present with you. And now as it comes clear to you, place your hands, your lower right hand over your dantian, left hand on your heart, and really feel what's happening in your body. Where is this emotion? Can you feel it in your body? Can you locate it? If you can't, that's fine, but just take a moment and see if you can get in touch with where it is in your body. And breathe into that space for a moment. And now whatever that challenge is, take a moment. Yes, Jane, I'm off screen. That's right. And it would be good if you had your eyes closed and just really go deep here. I'm off screen for a reason. So just breathe. Now let yourself feel the energy here. And now create it in your mind's eye, a statement. Even though I am experiencing whatever it is, I fully love, appreciate, and accept myself unconditionally. Even though I am experiencing this, I fully love, appreciate, and accept myself unconditionally. Okay, now you can open your eyes and begin with this chop here on your wrist. You can open your eyes and watch me as I do this. And just repeat that statement to yourself. Even though I'm experiencing whatever stressful thing, I love, accept, and appreciate fully all acceptance of myself unconditionally. Even though I'm experiencing. Say it 3 times as you're tapping. And then after the 3rd time, take a moment, just take a breath, and now come up to the 2nd point here, which is just where your eyebrow starts here, and repeat the same phrase, whatever that is, whatever that phrase is for you. tapping right above the eye, right where the eyebrow starts. And now move your tapping here to the side where your eye crease is right next to your temple, repeating. Make sure you're taking some breaths too. Just notice your breathing. Breathe into this. Stay focused. Once you see the point that I'm tapping, just close your eyes and really focus. Okay, now move down to the point underneath your eye here, in your face. And check where it is here real quick and then close your eyes. Same thing, breathing, focusing. Repeating that statement. Now come down underneath the nose. And that balance point we did in our Qi Gong warm-up. Repeat that phrase again. And let's go to the chin this time too. Let's go ahead and use the chin. Repeating the phrase, breathing. And now come down to the clavicle. Just notice the point and then close your eyes and focus. Breathe in and out. And now lift your arm and underneath the armpit, right in that soft spot there on the side of your, underneath your armpit, on your side. Okay, beautiful. Now the top of your head. Repeating that phrase as you're tapping. Okay, now sit quietly with your hands on your lap, focusing toward the sky. Take a deep breath. And just see how you feel right now. Rate that particular challenge or emotion again from the scale of 1 to 10. Where does it feel now like it sits? Has it shifted at all? If it has shifted, just notice that. If you feel that there's been any kind of change or shift, just notice that. Sometimes things are kind of persistent. And just be okay with where you are. If it hasn't shifted much, just say, okay, I can do this process again. I'll repeat it again. Okay, now open your eyes for a second, have a drink of water. Okay, so this is again a little magical, a little mysterious. Like, what are we doing here with all this tapping business? Well, we know that the nervous system has energy that's running through these different meridians. I mentioned earlier that this very important nerve in the back of the skull, this vagus nerve, is one of the most important nerves in the body. It runs the length of the body. It regulates our digestion. It's always receiving information on the state of the emotions from the organs. And we talked a little last month about the different emotions associated with the organs. We don't need to know so much about that right now. But whatever emotion that you're processing, if you just allow it to be present and then allow the tapping to create the energy connections to help the brain and the nervous system kind of just release in a very natural way. It works in a similar way that the acupuncture process works in terms of connecting to the energy in these meridians. So have some faith in the process. Again, like anything that we do to improve our health, we have to spend a little time with it and just practice. If you find that you've had a pretty quick shift, then just maybe notice why that is. A lot of it, my friends, what I've recognized in this work is how focused you stay on the actual affirmative statement, how much you really feel into that affirmative statement. When we were talking about the self-compassion component, one of the things that I really believe is that self-compassion as a framework is something that we do not practice or haven't been taught as in our formative years. So it kind of feels a little awkward for us to say, I love and accept myself completely, fully, unconditionally. Sometimes we're just like, oh man, are you kidding me? I'm like a mess. You know? We can do that. It's not true. We're not a mess. We're a work in progress. We're blessed. Actually, we are whole, perfect, and complete, just the way we are. We just have some things sometimes that are obscuring our view. If you picture like a clear pane of window in front of you, and if you could see through that and let light come in through that, it would just bathe you in this divine light. But if we have smudges on the window, if we've had experiences that have caused us trauma or unresolved emotional issues, it starts clouding up the frame. All we have to do is clear the frame. It's not adding anything to ourselves. It's just allowing ourselves to clear and really know. And it's a difference between sort of believing and having knowledge, awareness, and understanding of the affirmation. You just really know that it's true. So all of these self-compassionate exercises, which we're going to explore in more depth as we go down the line in this series, have this conviction, this real knowing that, in fact, you are channeling divine energy, that our healing process is capable when we are completely clear, when we make the agreement with Source that you're going to allow this energy to be present in you. This gets a little mystical, and it's also very exciting. Like, why is this so effective? What's the magical piece here? Nobody really knows. They're researching this a lot, but people have often said that they've had miraculous changes by just doing this simple tapping technique. So I'm going to just, complete this part of our program today by just reminding you that you have the power, you have the capability within you. And using the technique is part of it. The other part is really having this conviction with Source. Wherever you get your channeled information that gave you that affirmation about yourself, that is true. I love, acceptance, completely acceptance, whatever that affirmation was for you. And by the way, good idea is to have a journal of affirmations that are for your healing, that you can keep adding to, that are true value statements about yourself, that are absolutely undisputable truths. So the more we're in that zone, the more this stuff kind of takes hold and has lasting effects. All right. So now I'm going to ask you to find yourself into a comfortable position on the floor, on your yoga mat, on your couch. Have a sip of water. And I'm going to just give you an opportunity to experience some of my sound healing instruments in what we call a Tamado sound harmonization. So as you're lying on the ground, on the floor, on your bed, just let your body completely relax like you're in yoga nidra with your arms by your sides. Make sure that if you want to put something under your knees to elevate your knees a little bit, make sure your head's rested on a pillow or something comfortable. And just take a moment to take a deep breath and let yourself fully relax here. Feel the energy of the earth underneath your spine. Breathe in through the base of your spine. Exhale through your feet into the earth. Just create an intention to relax a little bit more with each breath. Breathe in through the base of your spine. And exhale through your feet. And just continue to breathe in that fashion. Let yourself relax a little bit more with each breath cycle. Okay, take a deep breath into your feet and toes. Tense the muscles, breathe in, and exhale. Bring the energy up into your calves and knees. Tense the muscles, breathe in, exhale. Now up to your thighs and lower abdomen. Tense the muscles, breathe in, and let go. Now your solar plexus. Tense the muscles around the stomach and solar plexus. Breathe in and let go. Bring your energy up to your heart. Place your hands over your heart. Feel your heart beating, surrounded in a field of rose quartz pink, unconditional love for self, others. Let go. Forgive anyone of anything right now if that feels good for you. And just breathe into the gratitude you have for your health, your family and friends, for the We Spark community. Nice, deep, clear breath. And now move your head from side to side. You're going to take a nice stretch, like you're waking up from a long nap. And when you feel ready, you can come back onto the screen. Just pop in for a moment. Say hello. Take a nice drink of water. Welcome yourself back into the space.
Thank you.